I would honestly rather not know.
There was one...
That is one of the most, frustrating parts of my week is the many unforced imperfections on the Penguin Random House order.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dale Bush.
I 100% expected that as soon as you saw me push the button, you're going to say, and the winner of Taskmaster Season 12 is...
Is it 12? I don't even know what series it is.
It's 12, Series 12. In fact, Dal, I'm welcoming you to Old Wound Friday.
Why is that?
Challengers Comics? I won't do the accent, but
Okay.
just imagine it to be southern and deep, but not a drawl.
Okay. No, I see, son.
I got to get me that. What time are you open until today? Actually, we just started our holiday shopping hours, so today we are open until 6 p.m. Oh, great. I'm from out of town, and I wanted to swing by and check out the store. I'm like, oh, cool. Hey, is there something in particular you're looking for? No? Oh, I just want to warn you, if you're looking for, a
Vintage
huge
stuff.
selection of back issues and older comics, that's not what we do. We're comics, single issues and graphic novels. No, that's exactly what I want. Oh, great. Perfect. All right. Yeah, we'll see you sometime before 6. You know where we are? Yeah, you're real close. You're just at 750 North Franklin.
Incorrect,
no.
unfortunately. Sorry.
No, I'm not. Sorry.
I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't know how to make the internet know that store's closed.
Well, I called it Old Wound Friday because not the only person looking for blue today.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, well, it was the grand opening. No, wait, that was last Black Friday.
No, it wasn't. 2 Black Fridays ago.
Oh, yeah, 2 Black Fridays ago.
Yeah?
Yeah, COVID time. What are you going to do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
You lost a year.
Did. I was working that day.
You literally just lost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you tell that day that it was underwhelming?
No, I had a real tendency, the months that Challengers Blue and River North was open, to keep thinking that, there were qualifiers, you know?
Sure.
Okay, it wasn't a huge first day. Well, we opened on Black Friday. Okay, fine, sure, I get it. People are out doing stuff. They're out of town for the holidays. We had a slow December. Well, it's a lot of people, our regular customer base is going to be people who work in the neighborhood, and they were all going out of town for the holidays. I get it. In January, it'll pick up. January's real slow. Well, the releases weren't really great, or the weather's not good, or a billion other reasons why it wasn't this store's not going to do well.
Yeah. Why did it do well in April, do you think?
I couldn't tell you.
If only we made it to Free Comic Book Day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we didn't.
Nope. Not with that store, anyway.
I honestly expected way more today questions in regards to whatever Black Friday sales we're doing. Only got one.
One thing I almost want to do next year, assuming we as usual, do not do a Black Friday sale. I think we've not done them more often than we've done
Correct.
them. And we tried them out for a few years, and this year was another year where we're like, nah, not worth it.
Yeah.
Is maybe in our Thursday email that goes out to subscribers saying, hey, by the way, our Thanksgiving gift to you, we will not be flooding your inbox with a bunch of Black Friday deals. So you don't have to spend your entire day digging out from every merchant you've ever bought from in your entire life, sending you 1 to 5 emails about their various Black Friday and Black Friday weekend sales.
I said to Molly Jane today, I'm like, this is the biggest email day of the year.
Oh my God.
Don't worry, Giving Tuesday will be pretty big as well.
Red Lobster sent me an email about their Black Friday deals, about half-off appetizers. Are you kidding me? Oh, man,
I think
everybody.
we definitely had Christmas shoppers today.
It seemed that way, just looking at the square totals. And it seems like being open past 5 was somewhat valuable.
Yeah, so the weird thing about the people that came in past 5 were mainly people I didn't recognize. Okay. And nobody seemed surprised we were open. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there might be this whole contingency of people who just would show up at 5:20 on a Friday and be like, oh, they're just huh.
I mean,
And then go away.
possibly, but I think it's more likely that people are out shopping now and they just would never even know what our hours were or check them before they came.
Because we didn't
They don't
really...
know this is like new holiday hours. They just went to Google and went, okay, they're open till whatever.
So I fully admit that I...
Also, I don't know if I changed the hours on Google.
Yeah, I just thought of that as you're saying it as well.
I've done it for holidays, but I don't think I did it for the new hours. I did it on the
Sure.
website. You saw those, but
Yes.
yeah, I'll have to hit Google after this to make sure they're changed. Anyway, sorry, you're saying.
I totally forgot. I don't know
You
what it was
fully
at all.
expect?
What do I expect?
I mean, I thought that's what you were starting with, and then I
don't,
jumped in.
I don't recall.
Okay.
Something about holiday hours. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's over. Holiday's over. Close it up.
It was a quick holiday. Happy Christmas, everybody.
It was a definitely... I know I said welcome to... what did I call it?
Old Wound Friday.
Old Wound Friday. It's actually rule number 1 Friday. So much. And to reiterate, rule number 1 of Challengers is the place you are working in the store or the place you have to be is the place where everybody wants to be when you go there.
Yeah.
For example, if you are on a shelf, you're at a shelf and you're putting a book on the shelf and you turn around to pick up a different book, you turn back, people have just flocked to that shelf.
Yeah, or conversely, if you're like, okay, I'm behind the counter, I've got to take this stuff and put it over in the New This Week section, there are 6 people in the New This Week section crowding stuff. And
Yeah.
I think we don't like, and maybe I'm speaking for everyone, but I know for me certainly, I don't like having to tell a customer who's looking at something in the store to get out of my way, basically.
Right, sure, of course.
I want them to browse. I want them to feel like they are not being, annoyed or irritated by me trying to work in front of them.
Sure.
But yeah, it can be, on the other hand, frustrating to be like, I have to get to the back room and there's someone right by the back door looking at the Marvel Legends figures. And you're just kind of impatiently waiting for them to be done so you can rush to that section and get done what you need to get done.
So, as you know, we got in a larger D&D order today.
I do, yes.
I was going to say restock, but it's mainly new stuff we haven't
Mainly new
had.
stuff. I mean, it's old products that we've not carried before.
So we needed to make some adjustments to the red shelf that's at the
Sure.
front of the gaming section, and I was going to add a middle thin shelf for all those card decks.
Right. Makes sense.
So I'm like, okay, I stripped the top shelf, moved the shelf. I'm like, I got to get a shelf in the back. And there's 2 red shelves sitting right in the back.
Great.
So I walk into the back room, come back out, a flock of people, 2 different families at the gaming section.
Wow.
I'm like, come on.
That's rough stuff.
So they eventually dissipate. Fine. I go back. I put on, measured out, put out the second shelf, and there's a guy like hovering over me because I was there first.
Right.
And then he walks away. Then I'm like, all right. So I because I got to put the stuff in the back of the double top shelf.
Right.
So I take some of the books, put there, turn around, pick a book, turn around. He's right there, standing like he's squeezed in behind me.
Could not wait.
Like, man, there were certain points where we were dead, and I'm like, oh, no one's coming in the rest of the day. So I'm like, all right, now this day was an awkward day because we got in most of the new comics for next week.
Yeah.
No Southern Hobby.
Great.
No Southern Hobby.
Great.
Which we
Dice.
for the weekend, and we're close to being out of boards.
Okay, great.
Well, at the store, but anyway. So like FedEx shows up, it's entirely lunar.
Yeah.
Which great, because early in the day I checked the tracking and it said pending.
Oof.
But that showed up, and UPS was a massive cart, and it was just PRH. There was
It's a big
one.
week of books.
It was one diamond envelope,
Okay.
but everything else was PRH.
Okay.
So I mean, like literally, 12 little Marvel boxes,
Nope. It's a pretty big Marvel week next week.
and it was. I mean, just side note, so much trash.
Oh, yes, as always. The amount of time it takes to, break down all the outer boxes, unpack the books. Now you got to break down all the inner boxes and all the bubble wrap.
And
It takes forever.
the recycling hadn't been picked up yet,
Oh, geez.
so I was putting everything in the trash.
Yeah.
Once I was completely finished,
Uh-huh.
recycling came.
Yeah, I had that happen to me. I think it was Monday, maybe. I was doing I did some trash in the morning, and it was completely full. And then a few hours later, I was, I think, breaking down the PRH stuff, and it was empty. So I was like, great, thanks.
Also, my WeatherTech stuff came. Well, the rest of my WeatherTech stuff came for the car,
The floor mats.
which is great because the box is big enough that I could block Oliver in the 9-10 times he tried to come in today,
A little doggy door. A little doggy
because
gate.
he was in the back the whole day. It seemed like.
Yeah.
There was even a point like we had the door open because I was constantly going back and forth to the trash. I'm like, I'm leaving my door open, and then so I was stopping to help somebody, and he runs in, And as I'm just like talking to the person, like then they go, "Oh, a dog," and then and they say something else, and then like Emma sneaks in and grabs him and pulls him back.
Is
But
Oliver your least favorite current employee?
no.
No. Okay.
So I like, I'm just going to put this over here, blocking that door until other people. It got to the point where Emma like used the door to block it. Suddenly, he's still in the store.
Amazing. He wants those treats so bad.
Yeah, and you know what he got today? Zero treats.
I mean, he needs to learn.
No time for that, Oliver.
He knows that MJ specifically dispenses treats.
Yeah.
He knows that I don't, and he knows that you don't. So,
She had to go
when
over there
MJ's
today.
There, he knows he's getting a treat.
She had to go over there because Amazon came by and gave us a box for Nick.
yeah,
But
that
it didn't say Black River.
No. I
So-
mean, that's going to keep happening. They're going to get a bunch of ours, and we're going to get a bunch of theirs.
So I've gone into a lot of our normal shipping places. I've gone in and taken off the 2R
Yeah.
because I had multiple people today. Welcome to Wrong Address Friday. Complain about the address to the building.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I get it, man, but when this building was created, it didn't have 4 storefronts.
Yeah.
And I agree, we should all be like 1845, A, B, C, or D, or whatever.
Or 1847 or 1849
yeah,
or whatever.
there's not enough. Because we're 1845,
But still got us.
because of... what? No. Because it'd have to be... Yeah, the Gatos is 14 or 1830s.
Okay.
So, because we're 5, and this is the odd side of the street, there's only 7 and 9 left, and you'd have to have technically an address for Sidekicks.
I mean, you
don't, because we're in it,
you
but
would,
it's a separate
you would if the
storefront.
building was... Yeah, but I mean, like, currently it's just 3. So you could, theoretically, just...
Yes,
know,
but here's the thing. It's supposed to be 5.
I know, but it never was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, even when we moved in, it was everything north of our front door was going to be a completely separate unit.
Yeah, and they were 1F, and we were 2R.
Right.
So 2R to any delivery driver means 2 rear.
Right.
We're a triangle building, not a rectangle.
Right. So they always think it's Winnebago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupidly frustrating, and I mean, speaking of River North, that was one of my hopes when we moved to River North was that, oh, hey, this one at least has like a dedicated address. 750 North Franklin, number 103. Great, done. And then we would frequently have just stuff like no one knew where 103 was.
Yeah, because
they were like Starbucks. Are you the Starbucks?
The vestibule doors were letters. We were in door C.
Even though, but I mean, you look outside, it says 103 and it says what the address is. Like, you know, any building with multiple units inside would have a little thing outside saying, oh, here's, you know, kind of the registry of who's where.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, because we were not a single storefront with a single number, no one could find us. And yeah, I mean, that's always been the way with challengers. Like, luckily, you know, you get a regular UPS person, you get a regular USPS person, and they know. But even USPS will frequently have a stack of stuff for Black River or for people who are no longer in the building or whatever.
What I don't understand is why most businesses that do shipping for products don't have a company name line on their shipping.
I mean, a lot of places that I deal with have it. I mean,
yeah, so, I acknowledge some. Sure. I said most don't.
Okay. I mean, I can't speak to most.
I can speak to the number of times I go in for address 2. I write challengers.
Yeah.
And then the USPS will say, we can't find that address. How about this one?
Yeah.
Patrick Brower at? Like, no.
Would you prefer just 1845 Northwestern Avenue?
No.
That's why I added the second line that said care of Challengers Comics.
That's why I was glad that they brought the Amazon one to us. Like, at least they, you know, try it out for us first. Yeah. We appreciate that. Also, this whole thing about the wrong addresses made me forget what I was talking about.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, you said wrong address Friday was the other thing.
But I mean, it was...
And prior to that, it was WeatherTech, and it was all of the PRH deliveries and how much stuff came in today.
Okay, no, that was good. That's good. That
I'm walking it back.
I remember a lot of that. Since we're only like 15 minutes into the podcast. That's good. I remember it. But where was I going with it? I'm always going somewhere, Tal.
You are. It's true. You have an agenda.
Except, no, I don't. Not this week. That's why there's a lot of long pauses, and we'll eventually get to the what do you want to talk about stage.
How was your...
But I mean, yeah, Christmas people coming in, and got it. Mm-hmm. So today was so busy unpacking things because so many new comics for next week. Here's a quick little aside. So I got the following week DC invoice, less than half this week.
Okay.
And last week's...
I mean, that's going to be a December thing.
Half.
There's going to be a bunch of, like,
massive
Marvel
weeks.
and DC weeks where it's like either massive or a few annuals and a one-shot.
Yeah, the FOCs I'm doing this
Right.
week that I haven't done yet for DC,
Yeah.
I believe are for the week of Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you got nothing coming out. Like, not the week between, but the week, like the 22nd.
Right.
I'm like, oh, it's basically what's coming out this week minus all the annuals and all the specials.
Yeah.
So just like an issue of Robin, an issue of Detective,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
this
happened
week
some
is
years.
full of annuals, and my God. It's a little like the numbers are going to be a little bit off this week because there were no Thursday sales.
True.
So we had Wednesday and the handful of people that bought new comics today,
Yeah.
which not many.
Yeah.
And there was somebody who had called, and MJ took it, and I was leading up to another rule number one story, but I'll get back to it.
Okie doke.
Because I said, hey, did you send an invoice to somebody? Yeah, they asked me to. They called and said they wanted to pay for it over the phone so they could just come and pick it up. So I sent them an invoice. And I said, okay, but they could just go to the website and buy it.
Yeah, we have an extra copy on the shelf.
And it wouldn't have...
It would have all been taken care of. You
yeah,
wouldn't have had
like,
to do anything.
it's all this way. Well, but I wanted to send the receipt. Or to the invoice. Okay, fine. Like, it's a thing you don't normally do.
Right.
You want to learn? Fine. But just future, just like, hey, you want to pay for that over the phone? Sure. Let me just direct you to our website. You can buy it there, and you can pick curbside, and we'll just hand it to you and come in.
Yep.
And then I realized I was telling that story that he's not the guy that I was thinking of who was so some the number of times I had to try to explain to people, hey, the things you asked for aren't in yet because there was a ransomware attack from our distributor, and there's shipping issues, and there's a global pandemic.
Yeah, like we just got stuff in late Wednesday that we had ordered from Diamond maybe 2 weeks earlier.
Before the ransomware attack.
Yeah, that was held up basically because for a while they couldn't pack and ship orders, or they had to prioritize different aspects of shipping. And it was only recently that they've been able to get out back order stuff. So there was, a bunch of special orders, a bunch of little things like that.
There was an issue this week where 3 comics, I think we talked about it last week, 3 comics that were out this week were not out through 3 Marvel comics. X-Men, X-Force, Shatterstar special, and Hawkeye, #1. Stores weren't getting because there was a small shipping delay from wherever. Yet PRH was like, hey, you're getting it just in a separate shipment, and it came, a little bit later the day on Monday?
The problem was basically PRH was getting it a little bit later than the rest of the Marvel shipment for the week. But if you ordered directly through PRH, they could get it to you by Tuesday, no problem. If you were getting it through Diamond wasn't going to be getting it until after they'd already shipped out for the week. So, like, every Diamond account would just be getting those 3 Marvel comics the following week.
Except I've talked to a store that doesn't have them on their invoice.
Hilarious.
Yep. And it's only Hawkeye, which is, a book people... Actually, no one cares about buying that comic.
That's true.
Especially based off of the TV show.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if people came in and were like, hey, I was watching the TV show, what should I read? Like, the first thing is, like, the Fraction Aha book from 2015.
Because it looks just like that.
And then after that, it would be, like, the Kelly Thompson, Leonardo Romero series that we have all 3 volumes of.
Yep.
That's fantastic Kate Bishop stuff. Yeah, the current series would be, like, the third thing, and it's, like, only if you absolutely positively have to get a single comic of Hawkeye would this be the book I would recommend to you.
Sure.
It's not good. It's really not good.
Man, I keep distracting myself. I'm getting all over the place. All right, so I'll jump to... we weren't that busy in the afternoon at a certain point, so I'm like, all right, it was going to be MJ's job to put up the Christmas tree this year.
Okay.
But there was so much unpacking going on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a one-person job at that point. Like, I had stripped the outer boxes and stuff, but it's like, you can do that. So I'm like, all right, I'll put up the tree. We have a different Christmas tree this year donated to us from Luke Smarto.
Thanks, Luke.
And we actually had a new tree we bought like 2 years ago. I think we used 1 year, but then we got Luke's. So I'm like, I'll put this up. But first, like, because I figured out where it's going to go a while ago, but then I never, like, I'm just going to, it's in sidekicks between where Batman and Spider-Gwen were.
Okay.
They're just in the back room.
Okay.
The tree's between the two.
Great.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll just run the cord under the carpet.
Kids are probably less scared of that than
Sure.
Batman and Spider-Gwen.
One kid, oh man, I love your bullseye. Our Deadpool? That's what I meant to say. You can love him yourself. He's for sale.
It could be Bullseye under that mask. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. So I was going to run the cord under the carpet and plug it in by the air freshener. Then I'm like, you know what? No. I'm going to plug it in up there where we have all the spots plugged in.
Interesting.
Because there's 2 zip strips on the heating ducts.
Okay.
Like, so I'm just going to run a cord down the duct and tuck it over, like, from this heating duct over this one between the lights, and it'll drop straight down in that section, so it's in nobody's way.
Mm-hmm.
So, fine. Get the ladder out. Go up there. There's a little bit of, like, nothing is ever as easy as you think it is.
Nope.
But it's fine. I get the cord up there. I get the cord down. Great. I have Luke's tree out. I unzip it. I take out this piece. I take out this piece. I take out the stand. Trying to figure the stand in. Floodgates. Like 4 different families come into the sidekicks at once.
Everybody needs graphic novels for
and
kids.
I've got, the bag over here, bits of the tree here, the ladder there. I'd closed the ladder, but it was leaning up against. If you had to put a ladder somewhere out of the way, but still in sidekicks, where would you lean it?
Out of the way, but still in sidekicks. I'd probably lean it up against, like, the manga bookshelf.
I mean, I did it against the box set bookshelf.
Yeah.
The one right next there.
Yeah, that area, sure.
So, as all these people are swarming here, somebody is literally moving the ladder. I'm like, don't move that ladder.
Oh,
That's a rickety ladder.
Oh, golly.
I'm like, let me just cram all this stuff in the middle, and I'll walk away for the next half hour.
Yep.
My goodness. And then, oh man, I keep forgetting to email Luke, or text Luke and tell him that I didn't have his tree skirt. I can't find our tree skirt. We have a very fancy tree skirt, and I cannot find it.
Oh, no.
I looked through all the Christmas stuff. I can't find it. So we used a red blanket.
Okay.
It looks fine. But I could not figure out how this tree goes to... It's just 2 pieces.
Okay.
It's 2 pieces and a stand.
Seems pretty
And
straightforward.
I could not get the top into the bottom.
Huh.
And I don't think you've worked with artificial trees, but you've seen them.
I've worked with artificial trees.
Okay. And so if this is a full Christmas tree that is going away for the season, what do you do if it's artificial? What do you do with the branches and things?
You fold them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I have the top piece and the bottom piece, and they don't fit. And I already put the base on. I'm like, why don't these fit? And it's like, all right, there's a long rod in the middle of the top piece. It's just a 2-piece tree, but the hole at the bottom, the middle section of the top of the bottom piece, they're the same size, and they don't fit. I'm like,
Weird.
why doesn't this go in? How come I can't get this to work? Why? And I'm like, man, and the bag that it came in was like pretty empty, and like usually I have a hard time fitting trees in bags. I'm like, is there a piece missing? No, he said it was 2. What? And it's driving me crazy, and I'm about to like take pictures and say, what am I doing wrong? And then I look and I realize, oh, the bottom section is upside down.
That would have been my guess.
The branches folded down.
Oh.
So I assumed, like you said, you fold everything up.
Right.
So this is the top, this is the bottom. No. So the tops were all folded up, the bottoms were all folded down.
Crazy.
When I put it together. Then I put it together fine.
Yay!
Although it's weird, like it's got a whole bunch of different settings on the lights. Best thing about the lights is they're hooked into the spots. So when you turn on the...
Turn on one, you turn on the other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
And there's a bunch of different things that it does. And because it's in sidekicks where we can't see it, we're not going all out with the decorations. I don't want to put it like, the all of my fancy Marvel or DC Hallmark ones.
That's cool.
So it's just covered in red balls and candy canes and things.
That's great.
And it's one of my favorite things to watch people occasionally, when no one's looking, like just grab a candy cane and off the tree and start eating it. And then you say, that's over 10 years old. Because we just take them off and repackage them.
Yeah.
But
They're only decorative. They're not supposed to be eaten.
I literally had to walk away from the tree for a solid half an hour.
Crazy.
Because of how full it got in there. Yeah, it's like, oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's what happens when you try to put up a tree during, the store hours.
Pretty much.
And then, hilariously, toward the end of the day, I grabbed the vacuum cleaner. I'm going to Sidekicks. And Molly Jane says, it should be okay in there. I just vacuumed Wednesday. And I said, it's for the tree. Because all the,
The little pine needles.
yeah,
The fake
pine
needles.
needles got everywhere. And she said, the what? So she comes in and she goes, when did you do this? Like, what do you think I was doing here all day?
Yeah.
Remember when I got the ladder? And I kept running in and out? And I came out, my hands filthy, and I'm like, of course, everybody's blocking what I need.
Of course.
She had no idea I was putting the tree up.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty funny. That's because she was just immersed in her work.
She was.
Head down,
Focusing on her own work.
nose to the grindstone. grinding it out there on the south side,
Like the grinder.
getting it done. All right. How do these stories connect? What else? There was something else that I went back to this one because I lost where I was going with the other one. But story of my life. I had to work an extra hour today, Dal.
You did.
Nothing makes sense.
That's not great.
I don't understand
Limited
any
time
of this.
only.
I did reset the open close sign,
Okay.
although I looked at it at like 5:59. It was turned off, but I checked the app and the app said 6 o'clock. So
It's fine.
I didn't notice if it turned off during the hour.
You'll see it
I don't
tomorrow.
think
for
so.
Sure.
And we swapped out for the holiday open close sign.
Great.
Just one of the old bag and board versions.
Yeah, it only has to last a month.
Yeah. And I took a photo of it because I was going to make an Instagram post, but then I got distracted. And there's no point in doing that.
After hours?
Well, for the rest of the weekend, because those hours don't change.
That's true. Not until Monday.
Right. And I do this all the time. I'll take photos like, I'll post for this. I even told Michael Romanenko that the next Dogs of Challengers post is his dog. I haven't done it yet.
His dog Rex.
His dog Rex. Rex the Wonder Dog. It's in my phone. Just haven't done it. And I'll frequently take a photo for a post. And then like 2 weeks later, I'll just leave that photo.
man.
That time's over.
And Rex already told all of his friends in the ravers. So now,
Well,
just
okay, look.
so much to apologize for.
No. I said
I
he's-
hope if anyone appreciates that, it's Michael Romanenko, because that's an incredibly deep.
It's a great
DC
Superboy in the
cut.
Ravers cut, yeah. Yeah, I got it. But yeah, he's the next one I put up. I just
Okay.
haven't done it yet.
Sure.
Gosh, Dal. I wouldn't let Rex down like that.
No.
Rex, who also loved Molly Jane.
Yes. Rex was very excited to be in a comic shop.
Oh man, I haven't been taking notes.
Oh no.
I got 750 North Franklin. I got
Okay,
rule
that
number
happened.
1.
Yep.
What else? It's a huge.
Tree building rule.
Yeah, but that's still rule number 1 technically. I'll put a big shipment. I always want you to fill when I'm writing.
I know, but I also don't want to distract you, and I don't want to create any sort of.
I just thought the answer was you never know when I'm writing because you don't look at me.
No, I mean I saw you writing, and you were doing the kind of low volume. I'm writing something. Thing.
Yeah.
Writing this
Yeah.
down.
I only started doing more detailed show notes for James Van Alstel when we were part of the Yak channel.
Yes, because he said it was a good thing to have.
Yeah. And he also told us to stop numbering.
Uh-huh.
That was an explanation. Oh, man. Somebody came in today looking for preacher collections.
Okay.
They needed...
Books 7 and 8.
They needed books 7 through 12.
Preacher didn't even go up to 12.
Did not.
Yeah, it went up to 9.
It went up to 9.
Yeah.
So that was a conversation in itself.
Ugh.
And then it was also, well, if I need 7 8, which one do I need? Well, it's not a perfect match.
Yeah.
And Molly Jane's going to help you on this one.
Uh-huh.
Why did they do that? And then she said, because the books don't say on the outside what issue numbers they cover,
Oh, really?
apparently.
That's weird.
And then, but she was saying, it doesn't say what volumes it is. I'm like, well, with their superhero stuff, they don't put volume numbers on it because they don't think, wait, no, you don't mean volume numbers, you mean issue numbers. Because it literally says on the spine of every preacher,
Yeah, book 6.
Book 6. Well, yeah. It doesn't say book 10, book 11, or book 12.
No, because they didn't make those.
Yeah.
6 books collected the entire Preacher series and several miniseries and one-shots, I believe.
Yeah, this wasn't one of those days, but now that it is the holiday season,
Yep.
it's going to be a lot of, what do I get the person that blah, 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 and you say this, and they don't get them.
Right.
Today was just a lot of questions you can't answer about
We actually
store
had
addresses or shipping.
on
or
Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
We had a guy come in who had said he'd only come in and found us because he was going to the ATM at the end of the building.
Oh, we did have a guy walk in today and look around and go, is this Black River Barbershop?
It is not. But anyway, the guy was a long... I want to say a long-time comic reader, but he's someone who started reading comics a long time ago and then quit for a long time. So I guess I mean it both ways.
He's a long-time quitter.
But anyway, he wanted a couple things, and I suggested something, and then he needed something else for somebody else, and I was honestly busy working on some other stuff, so I'm like, Molly Jane can help you out with that. And then I tossed her a possible recommendation while she was showing him some other stuff, and he got both of mine.
Yeah, I mean,
that was nice.
I think that happens with you a lot.
That was nice.
Like, somebody says something, you just like, what about this tip in, and they get yours.
Like he wanted a Batman thing, but he asked for it in this really kind of pseudo insulting, dismissive way. What's a Batman one that's not the usual garbage? Something that's more mature, a little bit more intelligent, not just the usual junk. And it's like,
Have you read David Finch's Dark Knight?
my brain was just like, wow. So basically, you're already dismissing most of what comes out from this publisher, but you want something that you won't think is terrible. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
So if I like the regular stuff, that means I have bad taste. Gotcha. So I ended up picking something where I'm like, all right, well, everything you're telling me is you want something pseudo-intellectual because you still want it to be Batman, but you also want to look down your nose at the other Batman stuff. Have you read Batman Damned?
Perfect.
There you go. Flipped through it, loved it. And even better, he got the soft cover, which is like, oh, cool, we weren't stocking that anymore.
Nice.
We're just getting the hardcovers now. And then the other thing was he needed something for a daughter who wanted something sci-fi and something like she's reading Infinite Jest, so it's clearly somebody who like wants something deep and
Well, of course, it's his daughter.
difficult and whatever. And so I said to MJ when she was going to go help him, like, how about on a Sunbeam? Like maybe give that a look. He bought On a Sunbeam for her.
Nice.
2 for 2.
I thought you said deep, though.
How dare you?
How dare I? I love Tilly Walden's work.
Yeah, Tilly Walden's illustrating a kid's book in the new,
But not
in the new
writing.
previews. Yeah, just illustrating, not writing it.
Yeah?
But is writing and drawing a YA Walking Dead series.
A 3-volume series.
Yeah,
Starring everybody's fan favorite Clementine.
honestly,
From none of the books.
But she was in a video game, and a lot of people played that video game. So I've already had people who are like, that's their experience with Walking Dead, so they're excited about a Clementine follow-up.
Follow-up, is that some sort of joke about missing a leg?
I don't think so. Is she missing a leg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that.
So insensitive of you.
Okay.
So we've got holiday hours.
Yes.
We've done sparse decorations. We got the
I think our decorations look good.
stockings up today
Oh, cool. Okay.
and the wreath. We're not gonna go all out. Like I had an
I think
idea.
what you described sounds like plenty.
Yeah. Well, you're not a decoration guy.
Okay.
You'd be okay with no decorations.
For sure.
But I told you earlier, I'm like, I have my God, because we have interior gutters, we could do the old Christmas lights on the gutters, like the outside of a house kind of a thing. And you're like, yeah.
I think you could definitely do them, sure.
Oh, yeah, I know, but you don't want it.
I don't want to do them, but I don't mind you doing them.
I don't know, I feel like you don't necessarily want to see them.
No, I'd be fine with it. They're fairly out of the way.
Yeah. But also, it's like, lights on the inside don't really do that much.
Okay.
Like almost the Christmas tree, I wanted to almost be like, should we re-rig it so you can see it at night? Because Sidekicks is dark at night.
Mm-hmm.
But, whatever. I mean, there's a fine line between going all out and going less. But because there's no tree at home, the technically, like the store tree is the tree.
Sure.
That's why I long brought all of my my ornaments and things to the store. Like that is like my Christmas tree for the year. But I also never feel like it is when it's in Sidekicks because I don't get to experience it as much.
Sure.
Like I can't look at it all day.
That's true, you can't.
So it's like less decoration at home, more at the store. But, last year we didn't do anything because, pandemic world.
That is true.
We didn't put up a tree. We hung the stockings. That was it. Mm-hmm. And hung them badly, which is why they all are rehung.
With care, which I believe is the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Well, the stockings were rehung by the, just got to find a chimney.
I mean, the furnace room is right.
Here's the thing that we are, even though we started way early, we're super behind on. Because our Christmas card has multiple components to it, we want to get those in the boxes by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because it's the 1st.
Right.
So they need to be assembled.
Right.
They're not all signed yet.
Oh, no?
They should finish tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, when you have people that work one day a month,
Sure, I get it.
it's hard to do it. And also, I don't like that being the only task you do on a day.
Sure.
Like, all the Saturday tasks got to get done.
That's true, they do.
So, it's I think maybe Monday, Tuesday, they'll be assembled.
Tuesday, plenty of time.
Okay.
Plenty of time on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, even Monday, because Marvel's all checked in.
Yeah, but I mean, Monday is...
Not received, though.
Yeah, Monday is probably like pulling DC stuff and then pulling Marvel stuff.
Okay.
Could probably do it together. But then we'd have to file everything together. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll just do DC and Marvel together.
Well, after I was cutting up a lot
work.
of the boxes, Molly Jane pointed out that you like to transfer Marvel into Lunar boxes.
I do.
Yeah.
They're just they fit better.
Sure. I mean, there's 2 columns.
Yeah, and I mean those boxes are built for that. They're built for 2 rows of comic books.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And also, they don't have double-sized flaps on the top.
It's true.
They definitely do not have that, which is weird.
Yep.
Once again, we had a virtually perfect outer box, inner box, dents and corners.
Great.
Molly will be showing you all the things she thinks are damaged
I would rather she not.
versus the things I say are not damaged.
I would honestly rather not know.
There was one...
That is one of the most frustrating parts of my week is the many unforced imperfections on the Penguin Random House order.
Don't worry,
where
it's mainly
how
every
did
copy
this
of Trial of
happen?
Magneto.
Great. Just like it was most of our copies of X-Men.
There is one legit Nightwing annual damage.
Sure.
Like the cover got folded over.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Because at first I'm like, no, leave it. Then I'm like, no, that's egregious.
Yeah, I mean, 2s and 3s of certain books, it's like, I get it, it's fine, we'll report them in. But when it's like, hey, every single one of our Amazing Spider-Man copies, it's like, I gotta eat these. I can't not have Amazing
And to
Spider-Man this
reiterate,
week.
the problem with that is to report a damage like that to PRH, to get credit for it and a hopeful replacement, you have to tear the covers off, take photos, and send that to PRH to say, here's the damages.
Yeah.
So you're like, you can't sell those books.
So to make it clear to people who don't understand how Diamond has historically done it, with Diamond, you report the damage or the shortage, and they ship you a replacement. For damages, they will ship you a replacement, and then at a later date, they will ask for the damaged copies to be returned, which means you have the option as a retailer of selling those damaged copies in the meantime and then just getting billed for them at the end of the process.
At the point where they say, hey, return these, you can say, I don't have them to return.
If they don't get
and
them
they bill
back,
you.
you don't even have to say anything. If they don't get them back, they're billing you. PRH does it the other way, where you have to physically destroy the copies, prove you destroyed them, and then they will ship you replacement copies. And that's only if it's over a certain threshold. If it's like, again, like 2 or 3 copies, you can report it in on their website. They will automatically credit you and automatically ship you replacements.
But for the larger amounts, it's not even a guarantee they'll replace them. What if they don't have them?
Yeah, like that was the problem the first few weeks. Is a lot of damages we had, including incentive variants. PRH is just like, we don't have these; they just don't exist. So you'll get a credit, but you ain't gonna get replacements, which has colored all of our intentions to report damages to PRH. Is what if we report them and they can't replace them? Like, we'll get the money back. We will also have 30 or 40 angry customers.
Yeah.
Who will basically be told, hey, you're not getting this Marvel book from us ever. Don't want that. Don't ever want to deal with that.
I remembered an earlier story I was starting to tell.
Please.
When I talked about the guy who bought the book, who asked for the invoice, and then just came in, picked it up, and left. And I said, oh, no, I thought he was somebody else. This guy had ordered a book from us and came in and said, hey, I've never gotten a call about that book. And we had to say, yeah, we were shorted copies of that book of 6 Sidekicks, Trigger Keaton number 6.
Yeah.
We've never gotten replacements.
Correct.
And the thing is, it's like, but we have cover B.
Yeah.
He wants cover A.
Can't get it, dude.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we reported it as a shortage, but ransomware attack, everything's behind.
Yeah, I mean, eventually they might find copies and ship them.
And then he's like, well, here, take my card. I'm like, no, you're in the book.
Yeah. We know
He's
you
like,
want
okay,
it.
but I mean, I take my card, and Molly, I open the book. I'm like, look, you're Sam. You're right here.
Right.
And he's like, well, what's the phone number there? Like, because sometimes I talk with a mask on, and you can't hear. It's like, you just have my card. I'm like, we're going to lose your business card if you give it to us.
Yeah.
We have your information right here.
That's why the book
so
exists.
I had to show him the number.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, man, you didn't miss a call.
Yeah.
There was no call because there's no book.
Yeah.
We will tell you when it's there. And then he's like, oh, do you have Citizen number 1? No, but we can order for you.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to
We
do
have
that.
an issue 3 that nobody wanted once they ordered it and canceled the series.
Right, which is why we have number 3 at all. But number 1 is still available. He's like, oh, I don't want to order it.
Okay.
Do you not want to order it? You don't want to order it from us because of the whole 6 sidekicks
I mean,
thing.
that's fine.
I know.
Order through whoever you want.
It's just like, sorry, guy. There's nothing we can do about that.
I have told plenty of out-of-town people who, when they've asked for something that we don't have and a distributor has it, I've told them, hey, go to your local shop, tell them to order it from this distributor. They got it in stock.
Sure.
They can get it for you.
Okay, here's one.
Uh-huh.
Hellblazer Volume 3.
Uh-huh.
Where would you get it from?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's out of print.
100% out of print.
Yeah, we had somebody...
But it doesn't even come up in PRH's system.
So, okay, two things. First, I know it's out of print because we had a longtime subscriber and former employee be like, hey, I got into Hellblazer over the pandemic and I want to get Volume 3. And it's like, I can't get it from anybody. Like, no distributors have it in stock. And I found out, because as always, what you have to do with PRH is it won't come up in a search if it is out of stock and you're searching by title. If you search by ISBN or UPC, it will come up as sold out. Or... and this is the hack I found, if you search on Pub Easy by title, it will come up as distributed by Penguin Random House, out of stock. That's how I've had to do certain things just to verify. Because, yeah, you type in something and you're on page 5 and it's like, where is this? Why am I not seeing it? I know it exists. Because of how they populate their search function.
Again, it was, why wouldn't they have this in stock? Well, because there's over 25 volumes of Hellblazer, and long ago DC told us, we can't keep them all in print at once.
Which is why we have stopped restocking Hellblazer volumes.
Yeah.
Because I know we can't get 3, so why am I going to stock 1, 2, and 4 through 25?
Yeah.
Especially when, I mean, you look at kind of I think Brian Hibbs calls it like the hammock, where, it's the first few volumes are going to sell great, and the last couple are going to sell great, and everything in the middle is not going to sell. So if I can't even get people past volume 2 of a series, there's no sense in me stocking any of it.
Same question with One Piece. Do you have any early volumes of One Piece? Nope.
Yeah, the only thing we were stocking for One Piece were the 3-in-1 volumes, and I think we've got several of those on back order.
Oh, yeah, we have nothing in stock.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's manga.
Yeah, and One Piece is a series that's on like volume 100 or something. Like, we were not stocking all of One Piece.
Yeah.
And God only knows how many Viz actively keeps in stock for the American audience.
It's in the mid 80s. Maybe late 80s now.
Okay. Yeah,
like
I mean,
maybe.
I cannot imagine Viz is in the habit of keeping 88 volumes of One Piece in print. Maybe they are. I mean, if any series deserves it, it's probably One Piece, but gosh, that's a lot of volumes to keep in stock. And again, especially when, like, that's why we stopped carrying stuff like Attack on Titan for the shelf, was you'd be staring at a shelf and it's like, we haven't sold 16 through 20
and that's literally
in like 2 years.
Over half a shelf.
Yeah. They're on like volume 34 or something, and you're just looking at these middle volumes and just none of them sell. Because you'll get people coming in, they'll buy 1 and 2, and then they'll come back for 3 and 4 and 5, and then you'll never see them again. And then you'll have people come in, do you have 34 that just came out? And you'll have to stock 34 because people are coming in for it. Yeah, I think with a lot of manga volumes, especially the longer running series, you stock them a little longer than you would stock like a single comic. You'd reorder them a few times, but at a point you got to cut them off. You can't carry every volume. There's no space and frankly no audience for every volume of a manga series.
A phone call today. Do you carry manga? Do you carry manga for your store? Yeah, sure. Like, what do you have? Like, a shelf? No, we have 4 bookcases. However, they are just half full at this moment because manga is so tough. All right. Is there something particularly looking for? No, I want to come in and look around. So comes in, looks, doesn't find what they want, and then says, well, when do you get new stuff? Literally all the time.
Yeah.
Can I leave you my number? And Molly Jane's like, yeah, what are you looking for? Just new manga? No, man, we're not going to call you every time we get some manga and tell you what it is.
You can go to our website to see a list of everything that's coming out, or you can go to our web store and search for the titles and see if they ever come in.
Like, everything that we get will go up on our website. You can check it out there. We literally get stuff in virtually every day, but, as far as new stuff,
everyone's day.
So, yeah.
Literally everyone's
No, we're
day,
not calling you to say, here's the new manga we have for you. But I did like do you actually carry manga, or do you have, like a shelf? I'm like, fair question, man. I'm sure you've been burned a lot.
I guarantee you there's shops that are like, yeah, we carry manga, and it's like 4 volumes of, like, DC CMX graphic novels from 12 years ago, and, like, a random Maison Koku Viz volume. That's it. That's what we got. We got manga, kid.
We got the single issues of them Round 1.5 comics and the Viz back issues. It feels like it's, you look around on the shelves and think, we got a lot of comics here.
Yep.
It's not what people want.
Well, certainly it's tough with manga. You look through the previous catalog every month, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you could literally fill a store like Challenger's just with manga.
Yeah.
And we certainly have to pick and choose. So mostly what I do now when I go through the previous catalog is I'm circling volume 1s from major publishers.
Yeah.
if I recognize the publisher and it's not completely adult-oriented, because most of our manga audience is teens and younger, it's got to be stuff that I feel like is at least, like, doesn't need to be bagged. Volume 1s, and then kind of not circling Volume 2s and 3s and 4s, and then when we sell Volume 1 and I'm doing a restock, that's when I'll go into a distributor's website and go, okay, how many other volumes do they have? Like, if we just got a Volume 1 and we've been selling it, like, do they have a 2 and a 3? I'll order a 2 and a 3. 2 and 3 start selling? Let's see if they got 4 and 5. Like, there's a few series that over the last year, they're older than that. They're, 10 and 11 volumes deep, but we've only started carrying higher numbers because we started selling the earlier numbers. So we skipped ordering them new for, a year and a half, but now it's like, okay, yes, sure. They're moving, so we'll get some more.
I wonder if there was a way to, and there may be, but I don't know if it's worth it, at the end of the year, look at, well, there definitely is a way to look at the sheer number of how many new graphic novels came out in, let's say, 2021. Mm-hmm. And then, because we only have a finite amount of shelf space, we're constantly looking at when things sell, how long it take to sell, and then do we reorder this or not? Like, we can't just keep carrying everything we've ever carried. There's no way.
Yeah. Well,
we don't have a TARDIS.
No, sure. Certainly for graphic novels, when I'm doing the weekly reorders, I will go through the list that gets generated by RMH. And if I see stuff in there where I'm like, this seems like an old book, I'll double check and see, like, when did we get it last and how long
did it take to sell?
Like, basically, when did we get it last? Because we sold it when the order's generated this week.
Sure.
Long gone are the days where it's like, well, I gotta cut, I can't reorder everything we sold out of. Now it's like, no, we reorder everything we sold out of that we want to stock. Because a lot of it will not be available.
Yeah.
And we need to get that order in now if we want to make sure that we get it when it's restocked by a distributor. But anyway, like, we sold some Adventure Time graphic novels recently, like in the last week. So I'm like, all right, how long has it been since we got that Ice King volume? Oh, it was 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
cool.
out.
I'm not restocking that.
Yeah.
Change the reorder quantity and restock levels to 0. Great, done.
So the counterpoint to that was going to be, there's no way to do this, I don't think, but print out a report of, or just see a number of, how many books did we archive that year?
Oh, yeah, there's no way to do that.
Just be like, okay, so we got in, let's say 13,000 new graphic novels over the span of the year. We had to stop carrying 13,000 others, basically.
Sure. Well, so it's multiple things, though, because obviously, yeah, shelf space is limited, so you're constantly reappraising what you're carrying. But some of it is going to be like, oh, we sold an old book that we don't want to restock. Okay, so that's going to free up some space. But then there's going to be, okay, we sold an old book that we can't get anymore.
Yeah.
So we're going to change that quantity because there's no way to get it anymore.
And then there's going in and changing stock quantities. Like, we don't need 2 of these anymore. We can cut it down to 1.
Yeah, although, we've gone more in the opposite direction because it's taking longer to get stuff in and things go out of print for longer. So it's like, I can't... The days of like, oh, well, we sell maybe 1 a month, so we'll stock 1 copy because, we'll sell it and then we'll get it back in like a week. Now it's like, okay, it could be out of stock for 3 months. Well, we're probably going to want to stock at least 2 copies then.
Sure.
Because if it's going to be 3 months between restocks, like, I gotta have an extra copy on the shelf so when someone wants it. But the other thing is that we're also seeing a lot of books where we'll reorder them and then it could take 3 or 4 months to get them back in. So in the meantime, we can get another book in and sell it and whatever. So the space, all of those things together work to make the space...
Profitable?
Flexible, I want to say. So the space we need is being generated by both things we're not carrying anymore and things we just can't get because of supply chain issues.
I don't understand what those mean.
Uh-huh.
What is the supply chain?
It's what Spawn wears.
Why can't people just go to the supply chain store and buy extra supply chains? I don't understand any of this.
That's a good question.
I don't think I told this story, but I can't remember if I did. And if I tell it and people say I've already heard it before, it's too late.
And they can fast forward through it.
2 years ago when we were opening up Blue, to talk
Old
about that again.
Wounds Week.
When we were buying, we had to buy our so the layout and the design was going to be the same, just different colors. Mm-hmm. And it was a little bit harder to source the shelving and the grid wall and things. And people were saying, oh, stores don't use grid wall anymore. They're just relegated to conventions and things like that, like booths at a trade show.
Yeah.
But we were still able to get the grid wall, but it took a little bit harder to find the shelves. And we like to use a variety of 2 foot, 4 foot, and then 2 foot what we call dump shelves. And the shelves we use are all called video game shelves or videotape shelves.
Yes.
They were made for
VHS
or designed for
tapes.
VHS tapes back in the day, but they're perfect for comics because you can fit exactly 7 modern comics on a 4 foot shelf.
They're really perfect.
They don't fit as great over 2 2-foot shelves.
Yeah.
Because of lips and things,
Three,
but
3.5 comics. How do you fit 3.5 comic books?
they're 4 feet long and they're 6 inches deep, and they wind up sitting like a full, not a full foot off the wall, but close to it.
We usually allocate about a foot
Yeah,
because of like the actual rack behind it and then the hook that the rack goes on. So it's like a foot off the wall.
And for this variety of shelf, there is white, black, silver. You know, some places used to do like you could get red, things like that, but those are harder and harder to get. And then there's mainly 4 feet, 2 feet, but there used to be like, oh, you want a 3-inch depth, you want a 6-inch depth.
Yeah.
But the commonplace is 4 feet, 6 inches deep, 4 feet long, 6 inches deep. But again, we like for outcroppings and small things, and Blue had a lot of little like nooks and nooks and crannies. Man, Nicks and cronies.
Nixon's
cronies. Okay, shit. It's a good album cover. Because of Lindsay, of course.
Sure. Okay.
And while I was getting stuff, and we normally use specialty store services, but they didn't have a lot of things we wanted, so we had to find other, especially like the magazine racks, the dump racks elsewhere. But I was talking to a guy at Specialty Store Services when I was loading up my car a couple years ago, and he's like, "Hey, we've got these 1-footers. Can you use these at all?" And he brings out one, and a lot of the racks we use have these end caps. What would you call the flip up sides? Flip up sides.
Oh, the handles for the shelves?
I mean, they're not handles. They're meant to keep things from falling off.
Like a bookend.
Shelf bookends that are like hinged and clip in, so there's edges, so nothing falls off.
Yeah, so if you're using like a VHS tape, you'd be able to rest it against there. It wouldn't fall off the side.
But it makes it a lot harder to handle and stack, and they get in the way. But we still use them to separate where the shelf ends and a new shelf begins, because we don't go all the way straight across. But he has these little 1-foot guys that didn't have any lips or anything on them. It was all just one solid piece. And I'm like, man, there's no way we could use these because they're so, like, we would need...
You need 4 of them.
4 to replace one. And he's like, well, we got so many of these, and we're just trying to blow them out. He's, why don't you take one and see if you can use it? So I took one. I'm like, it looks sleeker. It doesn't have, like, the accoutrements and thing, but I think it helps things stand out a little better on them because there's no sides or whatever.
Sure.
But they're just so small, and you can't run comics across because there's so many extra lips because the ends are higher than the middle bracket.
It ends up denting the books, basically.
Yeah. Cut to now, where it's like, oh, we have a use for these. We could use, like, I don't know, like 5. They don't exist in the world, and no one knows what I'm talking about. So I went to Specialty Store Services website. They're not on the website. So I called them and said, hey, I have this thing. And I tried to tell the story, but it was just an operator somewhere.
Right.
Like, just because there's a warehouse near us, I don't think that's the only warehouse.
I assume not.
So they just said, you need to go to the showroom and bring it in. Like, fine. The showroom was not that far out of my way, so I was able to go there one day. I brought it with. And the woman goes to look at the catalog. I'm like, they're not in the catalog. We don't have them. And I try to tell the story. I'm like, look, I know this was 2 years ago, but
You did have them.
you were trying to blow these out, and a guy's like, we have way too many of these. She's like, no, they're not in the system. We don't have them. But they weren't in the system either. They could just be like, can I talk to someone from the back, please? And it's like, it's not worth this just to find 5 of these.
Right.
And I did find something similar online, but they're $46 a piece.
Nope.
And we paid, like maybe $6 for a 4-footer.
Yeah. This is something where if you paid more than $5, I'd be like, don't bother.
So I look at so we're just using hooks, like toy hooks,
Sure.
because those double as shelves.
Yeah.
And-
Assuming a box is what goes on it, you can space them out just right.
Yeah. And I look at it and I'm like, man, I don't like the look of that. Not a single person will ever notice.
No.
And you're right. It's not even worth. It wasn't worth paying $45 if they had 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's still too much money.
Yeah.
There's plenty of plastic ones
No.
You know, like the J-shape ones?
I do.
I'm like, no, definitely not.
Definitely not.
To me, that's the epitome of
Definitely not. Nope.
like a 90s comic shop.
Yeah.
I don't want it. But it's just such a weird thing. Like, well, those don't exist. I'm like, yes, but you're looking at it.
I literally got this from this place.
Got it from you. And
This was its home.
It's one thing if like somebody came in and said, "Oh, can you get me another copy of Six Gun issue 1
Uh-huh.
or the Free Comic Day version?"
Uh-huh.
No, we can't. Well, I got it from you.
Yes.
But
But this was them saying, like, no, you never got it here. Or, like, you couldn't have gotten it here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I definitely did.
I want to talk to a warehouse guy,
It's
please.
okay if you don't have them anymore. You can just say that.
No, they never had them.
Uh-huh.
They don't exist.
That sounds incorrect.
I feel that happens. Like, there's been people who's come in and said, "Oh, I got it from you." Like, we've never had this.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thing we don't have.
I mean, we had someone come in, I think, Wednesday, and it was, yeah, can I sell comics to you? And at first we were like, wait, do you mean like
I
a
was
book
thinking
you
of that
made?
exact same person when I was
And
telling the
then
story.
they're like, no, like, I had some comics, and it's just they go to get their book bag, and we're like, no, we don't buy anything here. And immediately it was, oh, I was in another store, and they said you do, and it's like, we literally never have.
Well, first he said the internet lied to me.
Uh-huh, I guess. But it's in over how many years?
The way he
13
explained
years?
it is he
We
made
have
it sound
never
like
bought.
he made it sound like it was Gmart that sent him.
It sounded that way,
Yeah.
yeah. But, I mean, almost 14 years we've been open. We have never bought comic
Nope.
books.
Nope.
Like, there was never even a window where we did. So the idea that, like, someone out there is still like, oh, I heard you did. From who? Who in the world still thinks we do?
It's
we
the kind
have
of
a note specifically on the About Us page saying we do not buy collections.
it is the kind of question that when somebody says and phrases it in a way as, "Do you buy comics from people?" The first answer you want to say is no, but it's like, wait, do you mean
Yeah.
are you a local artist who has a book you're trying to sell?
Because there have been a couple times where we've had local artists come in and phrase it that way, and we've been like, no, we don't buy anything. And they're like, oh, I was over at Quimby's, and they said like, oh, no, okay, yes, we do, yes.
But I'll never forget the one time when someone's like, "Do you buy comics?" Like, no, we don't buy comics from people.
Scoff.
Then how do you get comics for your store?
Uh-huh. From a distributor guy.
Which is why I want to always say when someone's like, "Do you buy comics?" Yeah, every Wednesday when the new ones come out.
Yeah. I think on our website
That's
we
how I get
specifically
mine.
phrase it as we do not buy personal collections or private collections or something like that. Obviously, we buy comics from distributors, and we'll buy them from local artists.
Yep.
We do not buy your collection of comic books.
Nope. You should buy our collection of comics, though. That's what you should do.
It's true. It's real good.
In my inbox, I have way too many emails that I keep leaving as unopened. I'll read them, but I'll save it as unopened because they all have PDFs in them.
Sure.
And I keep meaning to get to these PDFs, and I haven't done it, and I still haven't done it.
I've done a slightly better job about downloading PDFs and then putting them in like a Google Drive so I can
Nice.
sit around and read them.
Well, I mean, I did. I went through. I did finally read Crimson Cage, Carrying Cross,
Uh-huh.
1 and 2, and absolutely loved it.
Yep.
It's so good.
It really is?
I know we talked about it before, but it's the Macbeth wrestling comic.
Yeah.
It is exceptional, and wrestling comics always seem like they're hard to do. This one is so good.
Yeah, it really gets across everything you would want it to about like late 70s, early 80s
Territory wrestling.
regional promotion sort of wrestling story. It's real good.
It's funny, I was reading a review of somebody's was reviewing old Mid-South TV shows, and they gave this episode a 9.99, and it was Shawn Michaels and somebody else versus Rock and Roll Express.
Okay.
And this is like Shawn Michaels. This is
Pre-rocker
like
Shawn Michaels.
1983.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is probably jobber Shawn Michaels.
yeah, he lost right away. But I mean, the card is full of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ted DiBiase, Jake the Snake Roberts, long before any of them were in the WWF.
Yeah, I mean, 83, like, that's right before, like, the rock and wrestling connection or whatever. Like, that's right before...
Vince Jr. took over from Vince Sr.
Yeah, Vince Jr. really solidifies things, TV deals, exclusive contracts, a lot of, like, you know, all that stuff.
So that's the feeling of Crimson Cage.
Which is funny because, like, now you look at things and, like, the WWE seems like such a fossil that a lot of what's interesting in wrestling now is how wide open things are, how AEW specifically has been, like, you can absolutely work like regional dates and
it's like
work for other promotions and stuff.
So what's exciting are the territories.
Yeah,
again.
so Crimson Cage has that feeling of like guys would just be like, would go from territory to territory. It's got that kind of, I mean, one of the big plot points in it is the kind of old NWA thing of there's an NWA champion and they go to different like affiliated territories and they give that territory a boost and they get the guys there over. And then they go to another territory and they do it all over again.
And then because they're in different territories for only a short period of time, so they're resting territory A because they're in territory B. So you don't see, the champion Johnny Vegas for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Because he's on tour. Then he comes back to where you are, and it's more exciting. You're like, I haven't seen Johnny Vegas in forever.
And
unless of course you watched Taskmaster Series 10 because he was in that.
Well, and you sort of have that old pre-internet thing of like there's magazines and dirt sheets and stuff and friends telling friends of like, oh my god, I saw so and so locally, and you couldn't just like.
It's even before tape trading.
Yeah, you couldn't just watch it on TV because those promotions were only playing for their local markets.
Yeah,
there wasn't like again until the WWF there wasn't that sense of like a global or a nationwide market for these things.
But the point is,
anyway,
I really enjoyed Crimson Cage. Yep. And
agreed.
And I read 1 and 2. You only read 1.
I did. I think when they sent it out, only 1 was available.
Okay.
And I would rather read like 2, 3, and 4
in comic form
as they come out.
Sure.
So I'm not super far ahead.
So I did those. What? I read a few more things. I did
Apache Delivery Service #1.
How was that?
Didn't work for me.
Okay. See, I'm trying to stay away from the things that I didn't like.
Uh-huh.
That's why I'm pausing, because I'm thinking of, I read that. Oh, no, that wasn't good.
I'm trying to think of something recently that really popped for me.
Yeah, it's Crimson Cage for me.
Yeah, I want to say something else had they'd given us a copy of, and I was like, yeah.
Like, I keep meaning to get to Last Slayer.
Don't.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, we're skipping stuff we didn't.
Of course, yeah, of course, yeah.
Uh-huh.
My point is, I'm woefully behind, and
honestly, there hasn't been a lot of stuff they've been sending us.
Okay, but I mean, I went through. Oh, I read
coming out.
Swamp Thing, Green Hell.
You did. That's true.
I did. I was trying to catch up with DC ones I hadn't done for a while, and I'm not doing the 2s.
No,
like
same
you said,
here.
Yeah. Especially like if it's mainstream
and stuff
books.
like annuals, where it's like I don't need to know. Like I'm reading #1s because I want to see what this book is about and how to sell it. A random Superman Son of Kal-El annual, like I assume it's going to sell to people who buy Superman Son of Kal-El.
This is how big this upcoming week is for. I brought home from today. We got Marvel and DC books in, and this is just the books I got that I'm going to read from this week from DC, and this is in random order.
Yep.
Justice League Incarnate #1, Wonder Girl 5, The Joker Annual, Human Target Book 2, the Nightwing Annual, the Robin Annual, the Batman Annual, Batman Detective, Batman Fear State Omega, and I'm looking, I thought there was a Detective Annual as well. I think I forgot to pull that.
Uh-oh.
One more annual. And the Superman Son of Kal-El Annual is next week.
Okay.
And then for Marvel, I've got also Wonder Woman
Historia.
And I was going to try to sing Duran Duran's Notorious over it, but it's too much of a stretch.
Thanks.
Fantastic Four 38 featuring She-Hulk. Daredevil 36 with 2 Daredevils on the cover.
Daredevils.
Twilight Magneto #4. Amazing Spider-Man #80. And the massive square bound, so thick you could write its issue name and number on the spine.
Avengers 750.
Avengers 50 or 750 for $10.
That's a lot of dollars.
Featuring Jason Aaron, Aaron Cooter, Carlos Pacheco, Ed McGuinness, Javier Garron, Aaron Cooter.
What?
Again. Rafael Fontieres, Ed McGuinness, Javier Garron, Alex Sinclair, David Curiel, Matt Hollingsworth, Rochelle Rosenberg, David Baldion, plus a special story by
Aaron Cooter,
Christopher Ruchico, Steve McNiven, and Frank D'Armata.
Okay.
Isn't this the... man, I can't remember. I thought this was the end of World War She-Hulk, or was that last issue?
No, that already... Well, yeah,
no,
it wraps up in there, but it's
yeah.
also setting up all the Avengers Forever stuff.
You're right. Oh, goodness. So I looked at that too far. Anyway, that's just my Marvel and DC books for this week.
That's a lot of Marvel
and I didn't get
DC
everything. There's books I didn't get. This is massive. This DC pile.
That is a big pile.
But it's
of
because
DC
there's so
novels.
many annuals.
Yep.
I didn't grab Justice League Dark Annual.
Okay.
And I think there's a tech that I missed that. Sometimes it's hard to, and I got distracted when I was going through the boxes because there's an ad on the back of everything I'm looking at is an ad for a Batman statue. But on some of the DC books, there's an ad for. Oh, you know what? It's inside. One Star Squadron. I'm like, well, I gotta grab that. And I'm like, oh no, that's not
an
yet.
ad.
That's actually in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So anyway, upcoming week, it's the first new comic book day of December. You might be thinking about saving money for presents for other people, but no, got to spend it all on yourself.
Take care of yourself first.
Because there are a ton of comics, and you should keep reading them. You say
Thanks for listening.
There you go. Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.